All right. You ready for this?
Are you ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
90s.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Get my shirt back.
What does your shirt say?
Iron
Iron Maiden.
Maiden.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, this is a pretty old shirt. It's actually not necessarily 80s, but the imagery is, so who's going to know? Except for me.
All good.
I was actually looking for another shirt, but I couldn't find it. So I don't know if I maybe gave it away or worn out. I don't know. Anyway, all right, ready?
Let's do it.
Welcome back, everyone. We are two dudes talking 80s. I'm John. That's my partner in crime, Lewis.
Hello.
A little what, wax on, wax off there to add to the hello.
Yeah. Sort of a little whoop-de-doo there at the end.
A little whoop-de-doo. All right. Hey, before we get into this episode, how great was Ant in the last one?
Oh, it was awesome. It was great having him on there and great connecting with him again because it had been many years.
Yeah, it was, and I've for so long wanted to tell him that story about his inspiration in my guitar playing and all that. So it was great to finally do that. But we're back to our usual format. We're just two dudes. We're only two, but hopefully it's quality dudes. Quality. And we're going to talk about our 80s movies, but we're going to talk about the bad guys. So bad guys always had all the fun, right? You love to hate the bad guys, and they know it. And boy, it looks like it'd be way more fun to play a bad guy than a good guy. So we're going to talk about our favorite movie villains from the 80s. So why not just jump right into it? Lewis, go ahead. Start us off, brother.
Excellent, man. Yeah, sometimes the bad guys actually made the movie. And in this one, I'm gonna call out the bad guy was actually a bad woman, and that was in Fatal Attraction.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah. So that I forgot the character, but and I even forgot the actress's name. I'm gonna have to cheat here. There you go. Yeah. But yeah, I thought she did a phenomenal job in that, and I totally made the movie, right? So yeah, that's my first call out.
Glenn Close was amazing in that. That was an excellent choice. One I didn't even think of, to be honest. Surprisingly, the original ending, if I recall correctly, was that she was going to live, and somehow she's going to do something to Michael Douglas's character, or maybe maybe it was that she was going to commit suicide and somehow implicate Michael. The other character, the male character, Michael Douglas's character, as the killer. That was it, I think. And I think audiences really wanted to see her get hers. Especially, you can't boil a bunny. You can't. You're not going to get sympathy when you boil a bunny. And so I think they changed it to make it more audience friendly. And honestly, I think it's probably a better movie because of it. But great call.
Awesome.
I might as well start with my favorite. We're gonna go back to Nakatomi Plaza, Christmas Eve, and we're gonna go with Hans Gruber.
Nice one.
Alan Rickman, the late great Alan Rickman, and my God, was he excellent in that movie. I just feel like he epitomized a bad guy. He was so ruthless in it. The way he would, kill people, just without even a thought. It just was like, okay, whatever. You can tell he was pretty heartless. But the scene that really made the movie for me, and again, my memory hopefully serves me correctly here. They added it because it was one of those things where, like, okay, you never really see Bruce Willis and Hans, connect or have a face-to-face. So they put in that scene where he runs, Bruce Willis's John McClane runs into Hans Gruber, and Hans takes on that American accent where he becomes Clay. And I love that scene. The way he does that scene was so fantastic. Again, great scene. And then, he kind of gets on the mic and, on his walkie-talkie, kind of kills it, Bruce Willis realizes it now, but I think he always knew that it wasn't Clay. And I love that scene. And then a little bit of interesting note, his, demise, when you see him falling from the building and that look of abject terror in his face, apparently that was pretty real. So
Wow.
that was a green screen, and they do drop him on this green screen, but apparently they told him, we're going to do a countdown, then we're going to release you. And they purposely did it without a countdown, just dropped him, so he wasn't expecting it. So that look of fear was real. And again, great shot, great movie.
Yeah, really, really good pick, John. And yeah, he did a phenomenal job. That whole movie was great. Yeah, that whole movie was awesome. So good pick.
Thank you.
You betcha. The next one I'm going to go with, I'm pretty sure happened in the 80s. I'm pretty positive. But forgive me if I'm wrong on that. I'll have to go check. I'm going to go with Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal Lecter. And that was one that I thought that Anthony Hopkins just did an amazing job. And some of the stuff he sort of like ad-libbed, like that scene where he's in prison and the detective is coming up to interview him, and he says something about like having Chianti with fava beans, and he goes, that was ad-libbed. And
yeah, the noise, yeah,
the noise. And yeah, it just epitomized evil in that. Super great job playing that character.
I'm hoping it's 80s too. I'm not sure, but I'm sure we'll find out later and go, oops, sorry. Won't be the first time or the last. Great call. I didn't even think of him. He did win an Academy Award, and it's kind of strange because that's, won a lot of Academy Awards, and that's truly a horror movie, and that, usually that genre doesn't really get any respect or love, but he was so great in it. Kind of diminished, for me, it's like a lot of movies, the sequels kind of diminished my love of the first, because I thought they weren't the same quality. But he was, great call on that. Great character, he would just send chills up your spine. And some of my buddies met him, and they said he could not have been a nicer guy. So, I hear good things about him. So apparently he's like so many people play bad people, is truly great guy. So good call.
Nice. Awesome.
I'm gonna go with another favorite villain of mine. And that's Jack Torrance from The Shining.
That was on my list.
I figured it would. That's what I'm into it now. If you read about, the making of that movie, there's, apparently it was such an awful time for a lot of them to make the movie, because Stanley Kubrick, the director, is well known for making him do some ungodly amount of takes. Apparently he treated Shelley Duvall horribly. And the interesting thing is Stephen King hated the casting of Jack Nicholson. Stephen King felt that Jack Nicholson already looks a little unhinged, and he really wanted somebody more to portray the character of a really truly nice guy, and you start to see him go unhinged. And I guess, he probably has a point to that, but my God, what a performance by, Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance, where, Wendy discovers that the whole time he's been writing, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And, it's just, he's trying to get her at that point before she hits him with the bat. Just amazing. Excellent performance, truly terrifying. And I mean, what could be more frightening than being in this hotel with, surrounded by snow, with no real connection to the outside world, and your father or your husband is trying to kill you.
Yeah, no, he did an amazing job in that. I sort of see the point where Jack Nicholson, he's sort of I guess pigeonholed, I guess, into that sort of the evilish kind of characters. And in the beginning of The Shining, I thought he did a good job of portraying that he's normal, but even from the very beginning, you could tell there's a seed of something there, right? There's something that's tweaked about this guy, although that on the surface he seemed very normal. I thought he did a great job. I thought he did amazing.
I did too. And for me, I felt like you kind of saw like a twinge of that when they were driving to the hotel, and all the family was in the car. But to me, I kind of viewed that as, okay, he has been in the hotel already, something there once he got there affected him, and he kind of was away from it, but it kind of planted itself, and now he's going back to the hotel. So you kind of see a glimmer of that. So I thought it was appropriate for the movie. I don't know. I didn't write the book, so Stephen King, obviously his thought process counts. So
Awesome. But yeah, really great pick. So much that it was on my list.
that's how great it was.
That's how great it was. Let's see. I am going to go with. I'm going to go with T-800 from the Terminator.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it 800 or 8,000?
I think it was 800. I'll have to go back and look. That's what the internet told me, but maybe my eyesight dropped off one of the zeros. Who knows? But in the first one, which I believe was early 80s, Arnold was great, and
The first one was actually 70s.
Was it really?
Yeah, and then the sequel was in the 80s.
All right. You're sure about that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But in either case, when I was thinking about it, it was the original one, because he just did such a dark character of that guy. And it was interesting because it was brought up way many years after that he only spoke that one line in the movie, right? Other than that, he didn't really say anything. Yeah. And yeah, I thought he did a really great job. Just did totally portrayed something that was, mechanical or not human.
Oh, see, when you were first starting to talk about this, I thought you were talking about the Robert Patrick character in the second one.
No, it was the Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first.
Yeah, and again, that was very interesting because when they bring him back in the second one, and now he's the good guy.
Right.
Again, it's one of those really great movies that sadly the sequels kind of diminished its power for me. You gotta be careful with those sequels. But good call.
Thanks.
All right, if we're gonna talk sequels, then I might as well go with a sequel. I'm gonna go with one of my all-time favorite movies, and that's Rocky 3. Mr. T, Clubber Lang.
Nice, very good.
I would have liked some backstory on him. I really would have. I thought that would have been. I would have liked to have seen him fleshed out a little bit. I think they did a fantastic job on the. They recently redid Rocky 4, added to it, like did a director's cut, and they gave Ivan Drago, a little bit more of a backstory. Kind of fleshed out the character, and I thought they did a great job. I wanted to know more about Clubber Lang, but just you could tell that for him, nothing mattered more than beating Rocky Balboa and taking that belt. And I think he was more obsessed with Rocky Balboa than the belt. Why? I don't know. That's why I want to know more about him. But when the guy is insulting, your wife and or flirting with your wife right in front of you and questioning your manhood, and he was a freight train, and he looked the part. He looked like he could run right through you with a go right through you with a punch. And I thought he was a fantastic villain. Was so glad when Rocky was able to come back to the second fight and defeat him. So I think that's another hallmark of a good bad guy. You really want to see them get there as like Fatal Attraction, and great performance.
Yeah, I agree. Lots of anger just spewing from the guy, and like you said, in the scene where he was questioning Rocky's manhood and whatnot, and just he did a really great job. Again, just spewing this genuine anger. It was really cool. All right, which one do I want to go with next? I am going to go with I'm going to go with the Krugen from the Highlander.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I thought that he was almost the same thing as the Terminator, almost a machine-like guy, where it's just indestructible and very evil, and especially after he got his throat cut, and he spoke with that sort of gurgle rasp voice, and just terrifying character, real big guy, and almost had a Frankenstein quality about him at the end. I thought he did a great job, and it was really cool to see him get his head chopped off.
I haven't watched that movie in a long time. I really need to revisit it. I started watching it the other day, and unfortunately, like so many movies these days, because I'm old, I fell asleep and woke up to some other movie that was playing. I don't even remember what it was, but I need to revisit it. Do you remember who played that guy? Who was that character? The actor?
Oh gosh, I don't think I even wrote it down.
No.
No, I didn't.
I love how you look at your phone says, I didn't think I wrote it down.
No, I was just seeing if that was one of the details that I put, but I don't have that.
Yeah, but I'm sure you didn't write it.
No, I wouldn't have written it. I would have typed it.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Wow, this one's tough because I got a couple I want to talk about, but I'm gonna go with this one because I just saw it and they just had the 40th anniversary showing for it, and that's The Thing in The Thing, and first off, wow, I forget the gentleman's name that did the special effects, but that movie's 40 years old and those special effects still hold up.
Wow.
That's just such an incredible tribute to a special effects master that did that, and I wish I knew his name. But the amazing thing with The Thing, and again, that was a remake of an old I believe it was a Howard Hawks movie before John Carpenter did it in the 80s. The idea of this thing coming from outer space and taking over different life forms, and you wouldn't even be able to tell that it was not the person you thought it was, and it was this thing, is really terrifying. And every time I watch it, I pick up new things about it. But seeing how quickly everyone, in the worst possible conditions in this small space in Antarctica, and again, you're isolated, there's no help coming from you, and you don't know who to trust. And the way the thing was, latch on to different people, and even the dogs, which God, was so rough to watch because that dog was so beautiful. It's something you watch and go, wow, that's so incredibly terrifying. Imagine being put in a position where even people you thought you knew really well, but suddenly you didn't trust anybody. And I thought, even though there's not a lot of backstory to what is this thing and how did it get here, and well, apparently they dug it up, but all this stuff was really, really crazy, and just an amazing movie, amazing performances, amazing special effects, and not knowing who you could trust, probably one of the scariest things out there. So in that regard, what a great villain.
For sure. I'm not sure that I've actually seen that one. I've heard a lot about it, but I'm not sure that I've actually seen the movie. So I'll have to see if I can find some time to check it out.
Yeah, like maybe the next 2 weeks. You know, it's 80s Kurt Russell. I mean, nothing more needs to be said. Mic drop right there. It's 80s Kurt Russell. You need to see it.
All right, yeah, then I haven't seen it, because if Kurt Russell was in it, I'm sure that I would have remembered him, and I don't.
Kurt Russell and one of the gang members from the Warriors. Forgot the actor's name. One of your all-time favorites, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he one of the top hats, or the?
No, he was one of the Warriors.
Oh, one of the Warriors, actually. Okay, all right, gotcha. From the gang,
and then,
actual gang.
Keith David from They Live.
Okay.
So Wilford Brimley, the old guy that was in everything, he's actually looked pretty young in this one. So yeah, great cast. Check it out.
All right, I'll have to add that to my list.
It's in cellophane.
Do I have one more here?
You have one more.
All right. I am going to go, and not because I thought it was he was an amazing actor or anything. I just thought it was bizarre. Jabba the Hutt from Empire Strikes Back. I just thought it was so bizarre to have this overgrown blob piece of crap looking character, right? It was just totally indulgent. I think he wore a medallion to try and make himself look sexy or something. It's like, no, dude, you're a blob that you're not gonna look sexy. But I don't know.
Wow. As a fellow blob, I'm insulted by that comment.
Oh, no. That definitely not. No. Um, but I just thought it was peculiar, and uh, he was evil, right? He froze Han Solo up in the end there, and but it was just bizarre. It was a bizarre character, and I just thought it was a neat one to call out.
Yeah, he definitely was memorable because you're still talking about him all these years. He definitely was a villain, and you know, he's not as good as some of the other villains you mentioned, but definitely interesting and definitely memorable. Oh man, I hate this. I might even do too. I don't know, because there's no rules.
No, and nobody's watching.
Yeah, nobody's watching other than us. That really, who cares? Um, one of the things, and we're going to talk about this if I ever get you off your, butt and start watching the other movies. You know how much I love the Karate Kid. Love the Karate Kid. And one of the amazing things about them bringing back these characters through the Cobra Kai TV series is they have all these backstories and they kind of flesh out these characters. And so they, even though they're fantastic, characters in the 80s, they're really fleshing them out now, and you kind of get a better understanding. They're not so black and white, they're just different shades of gray. And I really appreciate that. So, it's hard for me to see Johnny Lawrence, for example, from the first one as a real bad guy. Even Kreese seems, more sympathetic now. And shout out to both of those actors because they're cool as could be. Chosen from the second one, we see a lot different. But you haven't seen this guy on the show yet, so he's still a villain in my book. And that's Mike Barnes from the Karate Kid 3, the bad boy of karate. And, you know, even though he's a bad guy and there's really no redeeming qualities for the guy, I kind of like him, because he's kind of like we all wish we were, right? You're young, you're the best at what you do, and everything is new to you in these experiences, and you're just going to live life to the absolute fullest, and you don't care who you hurt or what you go through to do it. I'm not saying that's an admirable quality, but we kind of all wish we had a little bit more of that in us. At least I think we do. We're all too nice to go through with it, but we think, God, that'd be kind of fun. Again, villains seem more fun, and just the way he behaves throughout that whole movie. He's got a mission, he's got a paycheck, he's got to take out Daniel LaRusso, and he's told to make him suffer, and he's humiliating him at every turn during the final tournament. I just thought it was a great performance. It looked like the guy was having an absolute blast. I think the actor's name is Sean Kanan or something like that. I apologize if I'm pronouncing the name improperly. I guess he went on to star in a soap opera for many, many years, and just a fantastic performance by him, and a great villain. And he'll probably get fleshed out in a season or two of Cobra Kai, and I'll feel more sympathy for him. But right now, I don't.
I don't remember that guy, and I'll again have to watch it once I do my studying of the Karate Kid for one of our future episodes.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna throw one more in there. Unless do you have any others?
Oh yeah, I got one more to keep
All
up
right,
with
let's
here.
go one more. Let's go
All
one
right.
more each. We'll keep it even.
All right, excellent. I am going to go with the character Richard Vernon. Do you know what that's from?
The Breakfast Club.
Good
Yeah.
job, man. I thought that he did such a great portrayal of like a principal. I can't remember if he was a principal or a teacher. I think he was a principal. That it was there sort of babysitting these kids, for detention and stuff, and his whole thing with pointing with his Dio fingers and stuff. And I thought he did a great job with that. He wasn't a huge character in it. Obviously, the kids were, but I thought he was very effective.
He was, and he was, it was one of those things where right? Those kids all came together because now they had a rallying point. They had a common enemy. And there's a great line in the movie Miracle, and I don't know if this happened in true life or not. It's based upon the '80s Olympic hockey team, with coached by Herb Brooks, also portrayed by Kurt Russell. God, he's so good. And there's, they're talking about it. The assistant coach is talking to the head trainer. They're in a car, and he's like, "God, Herb, or why is Herb like this? Why is he, doing this?" And he's trying to bring this team of all these different players from different parts of the country, mostly Minnesota and Boston, who have a natural rivalry, and he's trying to bring them together to be a team. And the trainer goes, "Well, maybe if they're too busy hating him, they won't have time to hate each other." And I thought that was a really profound line. And based upon what I've read about Herb Brooks, it probably was true that there was some psychology to that. And I think with Richard Vernon, or Dick Vernon, I think it was the same thing. I don't think that was his goal, but I think that those kids all came together because they had a common enemy now. Somebody that they had something in common. They all hated this guy, and it brought them together, which was a very similar to the hockey team, a very unlikely group to actually come together. So good call out. Good
Awesome.
call out.
Thanks.
That should have been over Jabba the Hutt. I'm so disappointed in you now. I'm so glad we did one extra. I still have two, and I'm gonna flip it. And so for my last one, I'm gonna go with Warren Stacy. And you're gonna be like, who? And probably most people are gonna be like, who? And that was the character in Charles Bronson's 10 to Midnight. And again, I think, the important thing is, if you're a truly good villain, we're waiting this whole time for something to happen to you, right? Especially these types of movies, these revenge movies, or whatever you want to call them. And we want you to get yours. And this whole time, I wanted something negative to happen to this guy. He was a guy who was going around killing young women. For whatever reason, if it was for the DNA or what, he would get completely naked except wearing for a pair of plastic gloves, and he always used a knife to kill them. And when Charles Bronson would interview him, you could tell that he seemed like probably like a spoiled rich kid that had a lot of things going right for him in his life, and I don't know what changed. Again, not a lot of backstory, but that was kind of the feeling I got out of his portrayal. And of course, very ruthless, killed a lot of women. And it's finally Charles Bronson confronts him, and he does the whole, I'm insane. I'll never go to jail. I'm insane. I'll get out, and I'm coming for, I'll kill more kind of thing. And Charles Bronson goes, "No, you won't." Shoots him right between the eyes. And I swear, I don't remember an audience going that crazy, probably before or since, for a scene where the villain gets their comeuppance. And great movie, great portrayal. You wanted that guy you wanted that ending by the time it came. You wanted Charles Bronson to take care of business, and it was very cool to see that. So, Warren Stacy. I don't think I ever saw that guy in anything else again.
It is a really good feeling when you've got somebody that's really rotten and stuff, and then in the end they get theirs. That is a good feeling. I like Charles Bronson's stuff. I liked a lot of his stuff in the 70s. I'll have to check that one out, because that one doesn't sound familiar to me.
He did a lot of movies with Cannon, and if you get a chance, there's a fantastic documentary out there about Cannon Films. I think it's called Electric Boogaloo, and it talks about Cannon Films, these cousins from Israel, and they came over here with the idea that they were going to make movies. And they started making low budget slasher movies, some kind of like soft erotica kind of things. Went on, they did a lot of films with Chuck Norris. They did, some stuff with Charles Bronson. They did the Last American Virgin movie. So they did some really interesting stuff. And yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme was discovered by them. So a lot of great things, great documentary. Definitely worth checking out. His 80s picks on, Charles Bronson's 80s picks on Canon.
Cool. I'm into documentaries. I'll check that out.
It's a good one. Well, I think we're almost out of time here, brother. So anything you want to add before we call this one and stop talking about the bad guys and the bad women of 80s cinema?
No, I think we did a pretty decent job in covering a lot of ground here. So yeah, excellent suggestions, man, or excellent call outs rather.
You as well, especially Dick Vernon. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this as well. Hopefully we didn't miss too many. Let us know in the comments what you felt we missed, some of your favorite villains, and maybe we'll talk about them sometime in the future. As always, thanks for watching, and Lewis, take us out, brother.
Peace out.
Thank you, guys.